So BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Interface. BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Interface. BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Interface. So this Business Application Programming Interface, what exactly it does is it can act like two things. It's a hybrid concept wherein it can act like a conversion and it can act like a cross applications. Now what is conversion? Any concept. Okay, this is a BDC is a conversion. What is conversion? One time loading of data means one way data, one way passing of data, one way data. But cross applications is two way data. Two way data. So cross applications we have two way data. Conversions BDC one way data, and BAPI is a two way communication of data. So we can send the data and receive the data. So a BAPI is a hybrid concept. It can either send the data, receive the data, or it can also be used for one time loading of data. For example, you normally connect your mobile to a laptop using the cable, the wire, and then you upload a huge number of songs or something like that. That's one time loading of data. So that's kind of a conversion concept. But when you have Bluetooth, it is for exchange of data, small amount of exchange of data. So that is cross applications. But in cross applications, the advanced concept is BAPI, just like your share it, okay, or any other device which in which you can send and receive huge amount of data very fast. So BAPI is something like that, and it is developed. It is created as a remote enabled function call. So where do we create a function call in SE37, right? In SE37. So in SE37 only we'll be creating a remote enable function call as well. And once we call a remote enable function, once we create a remote enable function call, that can be converted or that can be enhanced to a BAPI. So we need to first create a remote enable function call in SE37, and then we need to go to the business objects SWO1. We need to go to business objects repository, and here we are going to create a business object. We are going to create a business object. So when we create a business object, we'll be assigning this remote enable function call to the business objects. Once we attach to it, then it becomes a BAPI. Once a BAPI has been created, it can be used in multiple different infrastructures. Okay, a BAPI function model is something that which can be used in multiple scenarios. So let's understand more in depth about the BAPI. Let's create a BAPI, one BAPI, and then we'll conclude. Okay, so BAPI, Business Application Programming Interface. BAPI stands for Business Application Programming Interface. And in this Business Application Programming Interface, we can exchange the data between SAP system and non-SAP systems. On SAP system, we have R3 data. R3 means real-time 3-tier. So real-time 3-tier data, that is SAP data. Between SAP data and some non-SAP systems like Java, Visual Basic Internet, Visual J++. Between these two systems, business objects will be in between. And how do we create a business object? First, we create a BAPI as a remote enable function model. Then we attach it to the business objects. Once we attach this function model to the business object, it becomes business object repository, BOR. It has been generated in the BOR. Now what we'll have is we'll go ahead and make use of the business objects BAPI for exchange of data. So we have this process. So basically BAPI is used for exchange of data. Now as I said you, in SWO1 we create a business object and we assign the BAPI to a business object. This is what I said. But then initially I said it is an RFC enabled function model. Now what is BAPI? Is it a RFC enabled function module or is it a business objects? RFC enabled function model will develop in SE37 and business objects will be doing it in the SWO1. BAPI happens to be an RFC enabled function module as well as a business object, both. Okay, So this is what we have. And going forward, what makes BAPI special? It's an RFC enabled function model. The first part, parameters must be data dictionary types called synchronously and no exceptions. So you cannot create exceptions because exceptions, when we will be creating exceptions is when we have errors or when we want to update the errors. That is not possible in the BAPI concept because BAPI is something which can be which is called from other systems, so different system. That's the reason we cannot use it. We cannot use the exceptions. Now here, when we go to SWO1 business object, we'll be able to see this kind of thing, this kind of stuff there. We'll have business objects and all. So when you see business objects BO, it will look something like this. It is similar to the class that we created. So in class, we normally have interfaces, key fields, attributes, methods, and events. Now same thing will be there in the business objects when we go to SWO1 transaction. When we see that, we'll have list of all things. But where do we write the logic? We write the logic in the methods, right? So inside the methods, we'll be assigning the BAPI. So let us go ahead and do this process in the SAP system. Then we'll understand it better. So guys, like once I create a BAPI, the steps you observe the steps carefully, then you will slowly understand. Okay, initially it takes time to understand the concept. So let us go ahead with the SE37. So in SE37, we'll create a function model. Let's create something like zdxc underscore. So it should be starting with zbapi underscore dxc underscore. Say something like some data, any particular data, for example, like say, K and BK. This is a customer bank details. Create. Now function group, you can take the existing one, z star dxc star fg1 for BAPI. So we are creating a function module, which is an RFC enabled function module. So we have a request number which is already been done. Okay, so here we should be able to create everything starting. I mean, like if it's a RFC enabled function module, the first and foremost thing that we have to do is we have, instead of going for normal function model, we have to select as remote enabled function model. This is what we need to set. The moment we select it in the import parameters or export parameters, we should give pass by value only. We have to tick mark this, otherwise system will throw an error. So I will explain you this concept in a simple language. See, now we'll have two ways in which we can copy the properties of a fields: pass by value and pass by reference. Pass by value and pass by reference. So pass by value is something in which we will be copying the properties from data element. For example, let's say data, say KUNR type KN1 hyphen KUNR. Okay, so this is by pass by. Now here pass by reference, but pass by reference is default. Okay, pass by reference is default. So data KUNR type KUNR. Now what is KUNR here? It's a data element. So this is passed by reference. When we are referring to the referring to a variable, I mean data type, it's passed by reference. But passed by value means we are taking the reference of the field. So what happens here is when we are using remote enable function module, this will not work. Remote enable function module, it will not work. Remote enable, it will not work. This pass by reference will not work. Why pass by reference will not work is because when we are calling a function module from one system to another system, in the another system from which we are calling, this information, this definition will not be there. Where is this KUNR data element definition? The data element definition is in the source table, but we are calling it from some other table. So in the other table it will not be there. So that will be the issue. So instead of that, we'll go for KUNR type KN1 hyphen KUNR. In this, what will happen here is we will be able to get this properties of KNR into the with the reference to the field KN1 hyphen KNR reference. So this is what we are going to do in the pass by value. So we have pass by value and pass by reference. So in remote enable function models, only pass by value only will be accepted. Pass by reference cannot be accepted. So I'll just go for something like KUNR type KUNR. This is already there. Okay, this is already there. Now this KUNR is already there. But if you want, if it's a normal RFC enable function model, this is fine, absolutely fine. But if it's a BAPI enable function model, you need to start this associated type with BAPI. Okay, so you should start this with BAPI. So associated type should always start with ZBAPI. So it should be ZBAPI underscore KNR. But ZBAPI underscore KNR is not there it's not there, right? So we are going to define that ZBAPI underscore KNR in the S11. So we'll go for data type and we'll go for ZBAPI underscore KNR. Click on create. It's a data element. Customer number. So we should start with ZBAPI. Only then it will work. Otherwise, it will not work. KNR, this domain name can be anything. So I've given the standard domain name. Say OK. Create. BAPI. Say OK. Field labels. Okay, we'll just ignore the field labels now. As of now, activated. ZBAPI underscore KNR is the one we have. So we'll go ahead with ZBAPI underscore KNR is already been created now. Now it says reference parameters are not allowed with RFC. So since we have in the attributes we are given as a remote enable function module, in the RFC we are given as remote enable function module. So that's the reason here pass by reference will not be allowed. So if you have to select this pass by value, otherwise system will throw an error. So we have to get the output as ITKNBK type ZBAPI underscore KNBK. So this should also be starting with ZBAPI. So we should create a structure with ZBAPI underscore KNBK. But for this we need to have the fields from. We need to create a structure here. Bank details. Let me see some fields from KNBK. So we have this KUNR, BAN, KS, BAN, KL, BAN, KN. So we'll take a couple of fields from here. and we'll add them here. So once it's been activated, the structure is activated. We'll go back. Z BAPI underscore KNBKZ. So this also is starting with Z BAPI. As I told you again, once again I'll repeat what I said. I said since this RFC enabled function model, we are preparing it as a BAPI. We have to start everything with BAPI. If it is a normal RFC enabled function model, the associated can be normal structure as well. This should be like Z BAPI underscore KNBK does not exist. Oh, this is not activated. Okay, this has been now done. So we have used in the input parameters, we have done this KNR type ZBAPI KNR, and in the source code we will write, okay, tables, we have written this IT KNBK. So we'll go for source code. So we'll go ahead with the source code now. So in the source code, we'll go for select those values, those fields, the field names that we have here. From KNBK into table into table IT KNBK, where KNR equal to KNR. The KNR is like, what is that? KNR is input parameter. So what we can do is, instead of single value, we can write it like this: low L underscore KNR, and we have H underscore KNR. This is again type Z BAPI underscore K. We can give a range. How we can give a range is what we'll see this now. So we'll go for the source code. In this is greater than or equal to, greater than or equal to, what is the first one we gave? L underscore KNR, L underscore KNR, and KNR less than or equal to H underscore KNR. So select statement KNR BANKL from KNBK into table IT KNBK, where KNR greater than or equal to L underscore KNR, lesser than or equal to H underscore KNR. So this is how we are writing it. Okay, reference parameters are not, of course, reference parameters will not be allowed. So given, okay, so another one also is pass by value. Better click this one also as pass by value. Any fields that we are given, any values that we are assigning there, it should be passed by value. So now this, let's say. So now once it's been done, it's saved. We'll activate this and we'll check this. Now this happens to be a RFC enable function module, and we have prepared everything with ZBAPI, so it can be added in the business objects SW01 transaction. Let's do that now. Let's go ahead and do that. So ZBAPI underscore TXC underscore KNBK is the function module name. Let us execute this and see. So if we just add this as low value is 1000, high value is 10,000. Let's execute. Let's see if we get the values. Yes, we got 151 values. If you can see this, these are the values that we have here. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and use this particular RFC enable function model. This is as good as a normal function model. The only two differences that we have to make it RFC enable function model is we have clicked in the attributes remote enable function model, the first step, and the second step is that all the parameters which we have in import parameters or export parameters have to be have to be done with this pass by value. Those are the two major steps, two major requirements that we have done. We'll go ahead with the so here we have this L underscore KUNR, H underscore KUNR. So type Z BAPI underscore KUNR. So Z BAPI underscore KUNR is the associated type that we have here. So once it's been done, we'll go ahead with the uh, this added remote enable function model, whatever we created. We'll consume this in the business objects in the SWO1 transaction. So with this, we have successfully completed the creation of RFC enable function module. So we'll go for SWO1. So in the SWO1, we have to start with ZBus underscore DXE, okay, or something like ZBus underscore. Bus is normally a business object. So for business objects, we'll always start with BUS. So standard business objects will start with BUS. Now we are starting with ZBUS. Okay, we'll create this. So only when you assign that remote enable function module to a business object, it becomes a BAPI. So superclass with nothing is that. This is Z BAPI underscore DXE bank Z BAPI. Just say okay. We have this application, cross applications. Let's give it as cross applications. Let's say okay. And let's say create request. New request for BAPI. Now in this, like, we'll go for methods. In the methods, we need to add that. Now whatever function model we created there as an RFC enable function model, we need to add this in the method of a business objects. Then it becomes a BAPI. So only then it can be considered as a BAPI. Select this and click on this create. So create with the function model at template. Yes. No, let's say we can go ahead with this. Methods, utilities, API methods, add method. We can call like this. So in this, either this way or that way. So we can select this and click on create, or say yes. You can go with this. Otherwise, what you can do is you can select this methods, utilities, API methods, add method. In this, we need to call our BAPI Z BAPI start. Oh, we have too many. So what we'll do is we'll copy the exact name of our BAPI. Z BAPI underscore DXC underscore. Okay, so we have this Z BAPI underscore KNBK. This one will copy and we'll paste it in the business objects there. Here we need to call the function module. Say OK. Now if everything goes well, error, there's no return parameters. Okay, return parameters have to be maintained, guys. So for BAPI we have to create and we have to maintain the return parameters. So the return parameters are very simple. We need to create that. Only when we create this, it can be considered as a BAPI function module. So for that, we'll be assigning something here. So in the export parameters, we'll go for return type BAPI return. Okay, so this will be passed by value. So BAPI return is a standard one. Okay, so BAPI return will have the return parameters. If we see this, we'll have some messages. Okay, status messages and all these things will be there. So exceptions cannot be handled, so that's the reason we are doing it. So once it's been done, the BAPI, so we'll go ahead with the this BAPI return is that. So we activated this. Yes, we activated it. Now we'll come out of it. Now we'll again try to call back utilities, API methods, add API method. Then we'll select OK. Say OK. ZBAPI KNR. Okay, ZBAPI underscore KNR cannot be used for methods. Okay. So ZBAPI underscore KNR, whatever we created, it is having the ZBAPI underscore KNR has property as KNR only, but then let's create it as ZBAPI underscore KNR, and ZBAPI underscore KNR will click this. Yes. To create the domain. Yes, it's not required actually. Then no, it's not active. Okay, this is done. Let's go for it. API methods, add method. This is the one we have. Say OK. Okay. So basically, it should not throw an error. Let's see. Let's see. So once we add that BAPI, by default, a method name will be chosen by the system. Text will also be chosen by the system. If you want, you can change it. Otherwise, we can keep it like that. So we'll click on this button. So method not yet implemented. We want to generate yes. So automatically a method is generated. So here the green color button should come. Only when the green color button comes, it means that we have successfully implemented the BAPI. So once we have done that, we have to click on this generate. So now the object contains one. Okay, this should not come actually. This should be by default created. Okay, so this is coming. That's coming because we actually system is not allowing that data type. ZBAPI underscore. These properties are taken as starting with SAP BAPI only actually. So it should be able to add it with the values directly. And then it's okay. So now instead of export in BAPI return, maintaining BAPI return, we are maintaining the tables BAPI RET like BAPI return 2, and then we have to go ahead with, since it's been done, we'll go ahead with, once it's been done, we'll come back and we'll try to use this in our program. So BAPI DXR, okay, this is the one. Okay, let's try to take it in our business objects in SW1. We'll go to SW1 transaction methods, this API methods, add method. We'll go for this. Return parameters. We'll go for it. What happens is if we get an error, automatically the system will not generate the backend code that has to be done. Okay, so it is expecting a flat structure. Let's create a flat structure here. It wants it to be created as a flat structure. Okay. So let's go with that now. So what we have to do is, even the input parameters also, it is expecting us to create a flat structure. So flat structure in the sense, the import parameter, whatever we have it, will give us 1. Here also 1. Let's create this snapshot SC11. We'll go for schema type set BAPI underscore KML. It's creating it as a flat structure. Okay, so this has been done now, but then it's a flat structure, right? So it is expecting us to define it as a structure hyphen field. So the business objects. It's not taking the directly the data type. Okay. So now let's see now. Utilities, add method. Now this is how it should come. So actually it is expecting us to go for the BAPI return and all. So we have selected this. Just say OK. Now automatically all these fields will come here. So ID underscore KNBK, BAPI return, import parameters, export parameters, what are the everything will be visible here. This is how it should be visible. Once it's been done, daemon yes. So it will be automatically created. Now once we generate it, it's automatically generated now. Utilities. So we have change release status, object type model to implemented, object type model to released. Object type needs to implemented. It's implemented now. Change release object type to released. Okay. Now once we have done this, we have to generate this. This is generated successfully actually. So we can see this. This is generated successfully. So bus underscore DXC is generated successfully. This is what we have now. So once we have it, we can execute this and we can execute this. So here the low value we are giving us 1000, high value we are getting us something like 10,000. Execute this. So we'll get these values here. Low value and high value. Okay, we don't have any records. Okay, we are not getting any records here. This 1000. For the range that we gave, we didn't have the values, so now we have values here. So let's execute this. We got 23 values here. So these are the values. Okay, let's go ahead and select this. Okay, let's check this from the business objects level. Let's check this from the business objects level. Let me first remove this breakpoint. So execute this. We get this 23 records. So we can get this. So at the business objects level, we have got these records here. So with this successfully, we have created a BAPI. Now only when you have assigned this BAPI to the BAPI function model to a business objects, we will be able to complete the BAPI project. So now we have successfully created a BAPI project and we have assigned it to a bus called the bus means business object called bux underscore dxc, bus zbus underscore DXE. Now, if you want to see some standard BAPIs, you can go ahead into BAPI transaction and check them. You can go to BAPI transaction and check all the standard ones. So if you go to BAPI transaction, you will be able to see all the bus values. So if you, this is a BAPI standard transaction. In the BAPI standard transaction, if you see this, let's say we have something like financial accounting. Okay, so in the company code creation. So if you see here, there is a business object to create a company code, that is bus 0002. We have the documentation, we have tools, and we have the projects. So in the documentation and tools, in the tools you can see the BAPIs. So we can see the BAPIs here. So we'll have this projects. So we have a business objects, and we'll have BAPIs, linked to it. We'll have BAPIs linked to it. So if you want to find out the BAPIs that are linked to it, you can just copy this, the business objects number name, and this business objects name you need to open it in the business objects repository. Let's say we have financial accounting, we have company code. In the company code we have this. So we'll go for detail. This way bus 0002 is there. So bus 0002. For bus 0002, if you open that in SW01 transaction, we can see what are the methods that have been assigned to it. So there are a lot of methods, standard methods that have been assigned. So each method will have its own function model into it. Get list. So we have a get list one. So we can have either a result ABAP program, or we can have a API function. So this is an API function. If we double click on this, it will take us to the function module. This is the function module. This is a BAPI underscore company underscore get list. So now we have understood how to create a BAPI, but then we have to understand how to use that BAPI in our programs, interface programs. That is what we have to do. And so you need to practice this, and once you practice, you'll be able to understand this.